2020 was, of course, a very bad year for the European economy. The virus pandemic hit the entire world hard, including Europe. In the months of March and April, GDP contracted like never before. However, the rebound in the months thereafter was also pretty fast. If it had not been for the second wave of the pandemic in late 2020, we would probably at the end of the year have been only 3% below the activity of a year before. So it's been a bad year for the Eurozone, it's been a bad year for the UK. The outlook for 2021 is much better. First of all, Trump is gone. That means the risk of a trade war between Europe and the US is gone. And that is very positive news. Secondly, we have started the process of vaccination in the UK. Other countries will follow. It is very likely that in spring, the worst of the pandemic will be behind us and that the pandemic will not return very badly next autumn. So we should have a serious rebound from the pandemic. Also, this problem of Brexit will be sorted next year one way or the other, hopefully with a deal. As a result, I expect the European economies to expand at a rate of around 5% next year in 2021. This will not fully offset the losses of 2020, but it will offset most of the losses after the very negative surprise of the pandemic in 2020. We are likely to have some positive rather than negative surprises in 2021. And if Brexit can be solved amicably with a deal, then the UK economy will probably for once not lag behind the economies of the continent, but be roughly in line with those of the European continent.
Okay, so looking back at 2020 in Europe, I mean, clearly it was the year of the pandemic, everybody knows that. But the economy, I think, in many ways held up better than we might have expected, particularly Germany, which was perhaps slightly less impacted than other countries. But as we've got to the end of the year, the economy looks a little bit more rocky. The anticipated recovery that we thought would happen at the end of the year and into 2021 looks to be a little slower than we anticipated. So the launch pad for next year perhaps is a bit lower. From a market perspective, again, I think you look at most markets, the equity markets in particular. It's been a remarkably good year, or second half of the year anyway, with the DAX in particular, almost on fire for large parts of the year. So the markets have done a lot better than the economy, I think, if you look at the performance of 2020 as a whole. 2021, it's going to be difficult. Let's put it that way. I mean, we're not entirely sure how much damage the second or even third wave of Corona has caused to the economy. So looking forward, it's likely that the early months of 2021 will be a bit of a slow haul. The authorities are doing all they can in terms of providing monetary stimulus and in terms of the fiscal support that's being given. That the European economies generally will rebound pretty sharply next year. We're fairly hopeful that by 2022, output will be back at pre-crisis levels, which I think, given the collapse in demand that we saw in 2020, would be a pretty remarkable achievement.